at it again, and we'll talk about it. And, you know.
I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask the city clerk to call the roll.
Mayor Sorrell?
Here.
Assistant Mayor Grasso?
Here.
Councilor Farini?
Here.
Councilor Marchand?
Here.
Councilor Penelakis?
Here.
Councilor Hines?
Here.
Councilor Reynolds?
Here.
Councilor Whitehouse?
Here.
Councilor St. Laurent?
Here.
I'd like to ask everyone to rise for a moment of silent prayer, and then Councilor Reynolds will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by God Bless America.
Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless America.
We're honored here tonight to have the Seacoast Shipyard Association and the Save Our Shipyard Task Force. I know these men and women would agree that keeping the Navy Yard open was a huge effort, and especially a huge effort that it crossed the borders of our towns and our states. There are so many people who helped in this campaign who will never ever be publicly acknowledged. But all of us here tonight know that we could not have succeeded without everyone's help. I don't think we can say it often enough. Every little action counted. Whether people took just a minute to sign the petition or to wear the yellow T-shirt, wrote letters, sent money, stood for hours at the rally, or helped organize them. This wonderful victory belongs to all of us. But since we can't bring everyone here to thank them, I asked the members of Save Our Shipyard Task Force Executive Board to be here tonight, along with 2 additional special gentlemen to accept our thanks on behalf of everyone. I have Mayor's Awards that I'd like to start with to pass out, and these are gifts for the Task Force Executive Board members who could be here this evening, and from what I hear, everybody's here. The first one, and I'd ask that you come right up, the first one is Neil Rhodes, and he was chairperson. I'm supposed to get one out. Thank you. Did you want to say a few words at the podium? Why don't you say a few words to the people at home?
Okay. The mayor asked me if I wanted to say a few words. What a question to a former politician. I'm delighted to be here tonight, delighted that we have this great victory to celebrate. Wish to thank you, all the members of the city council, for your extraordinary help. It was tremendous, the response that we got from you, which it wasn't a surprise because we'd had that kind of support before in the previous BRAC rounds that we were able to sustain. Of course, this one was the very toughest one. We won a marvelous victory, and we're just delighted to be here, and thank you for your recognition of our work. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Neil. The next one is Pat Dollaby, and if you would come forward, Pat. Oops. Now I've lost you. You've got to be here someplace. We'll find you in a minute, Pat. I had everything lined up. There we are. Right at the end, because I don't think you were coming at first, were you? You're welcome, Pat, and thank you, dear. Just a little something. The next one is Ginny Griffith. My co-partner, she did a great job. Thank you, Jen. Dick Ingram, he was always there for us. Dick was always there for us. I have to congratulate him. You're welcome, Dick.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're quite welcome. The next one is Paul O'Connor. I really don't think I know that gentleman. I would give you a big hug and kiss, but I can't reach you. Paul is the greatest. There's no question about it. And JJ is too, and he'll be coming up in a little bit. Take care. Ed Scully. And all I've got to say is we've got to quit meeting like this. People are going to start talking. Thank you, Sue. Thank you. Kathy Goodwin couldn't be here tonight. Will someone take her award and also her little present, Jen? Come on right up, Jen. Yeah. So it won't get lost. Thank her. That's JJ. I also would like to thank a special gentleman out there, JJ, who is better known as JJ. All of you know him. He carried the flag throughout it all. And he was very vocal, the loudest cheerleader I have ever seen. And I want to thank you very much, JJ.
Over the top.
Oh,
Not
John.
I appreciate all your.
I do you, too. You were great. You really were. And here's a little something for you. And last but definitely not least, I have a proclamation for Captain McDonough, who has been such a force for the shipyard throughout all of this. Councilor Harold Whitehouse is going to read the proclamation. We'll have you come right up, Captain, and then hopefully at the end you'll say a few words.
Thank you, Your Honor. I feel very honored to be reading this proclamation. I served under the captain while he was commander for 5 years, from 1974 to 1979. So it gives me great honor to read this proclamation. The Council Chambers, City Hall, Portsmouth, New Hampshire, a proclamation. Whereas Captain William D. McDonough, United States Navy retired, has sounded the warning alarm early and often about the need to safeguard the future of the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard. And whereas Captain McDonough has been a leading spokesman for the Navy Yard through the Seacoast Shipyard Association and also the Save Our Shipyard Task Force that has established with the community members to protect the shipyard during the base realignment and closure process. And whereas Captain McDonough, with the patient support of his wife, Nancy, has devoted more than 12 years to keep open the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard. He commanded between 1974 and 1979. And whereas thousands of shipyard workers and managers, politicians, and ordinary citizens of Maine and New Hampshire heeded his call to educate the BRAC Commission about the shipyard's top performance record and its importance to the national defense to our communities. Now, therefore, I, Evelyn Sorrell, Mayor of the City of Portsmouth, do hereby join with the City Council and the citizens of Portsmouth in thanking Captain Bill McDonough, United States Navy, retired, for his many efforts to save our shipyard and for taking a leadership role in the extreme difficult campaign to get the shipyard removed from the BRAC list. Thousands of people have you and the SOS Task Force to thank for their continued livelihood at the shipyard and in countless related businesses. Given with my hand and the seal of the City of Portsmouth on this 3rd day of October 2005, Evelyn Sorrell, Mayor of Portsmouth.
Good. Captain, watch this because it flips out. Would you say a few words?
That was the meaning of the word few.
I just want you to all to know, just because I'm retiring, if you need me, holler.
Mayor, proclamation. Captain?
Oh, he has to.
No, he's got it.
Oh, he's got that?
He's got the original. Yeah.
Mayor Sorrell, members of the City Council, and all the assembled people here, I'd like to say thank you very, very much for the recognition that you've bestowed upon me. I have been very, very fortunate over the many years. I've been here in this chamber too often on the subject of saving the shipyard. But this time I must say that it has been a very, very gratifying thing. I have had the opportunity to work with, without doubt, the greatest collection of team members that I have ever ever seen anywhere. And this team goes all the way from our congressional representatives, our senators, our congressmen, our governors, the various cities and town councils around the area, and the many, many millions of citizens of the shipyard, of the seacoast area. And not the least of which were the members of this subject of our concern, the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard. We have had a experience where we've had 4,800 plus people over there, all working to produce the product, which made it so much easier to sell. There was no spin required on this time. It was just look at the facts. Our congressionals recognized this, our governors recognized it, and more importantly, the BRAC Commission recognized it. Everybody recognized it except the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of the Navy, who were misguided in their position. However, nevertheless, this is something that we have gone through many times. You saw in the paper today, I think it was, or yesterday, where Paul O'Connor was quoted as having referred to one back in immediately after the Civil War time. And in 1874, Congressman Witherspoon, whoever he was, he proposed closing the Navy yards at Kittery, Boston, New London, and this is going on. Secretary McNamara, many of you will remember, in 1964 said close the shipyard. And it's surprising that we've had these kind of good leaders be so misguided on one subject over the generations. This time we have demonstrated our position. However, we must recognize that the situation that led us into the position of being recommended for closure is not one that has anything to do with us. It's the need to keep our shipbuilding industry functioning and to keep the nation's capabilities at the forefront. Those problems still exist, and we must be ever guarding that we make sure that our position is protected. We have the assurance of all our communities, our congressionals all recognizing this, and we look forward to several years now of reasonable security. However, it's a never-ending battle, and we will be there watching the store and keeping ready and hoping that if and ever this event comes upon again, we will see the same result. Thank you again very much, and I must say I'm very pleased, gratified and all to have worked with such a wonderful team as Save Our Shipyard Task Force, with all of their members and all of the people who supported them. Thank you very much.
City Manager John Bohinkle would like to say a few words.
Your Honor, thank you very much. I had the opportunity to firsthand watch the Save Our Shipyard Task Force on a regular basis, and I want to tell you, I know, Mayor, that you were able to give a number of well-deserved compliments, but these people met on a regular basis weekly, and then after their weekly meetings, they went into their subcommittees and followed through on a very, very specific tasks, and they were very well organized, and quite frankly, I was really impressed with the way their dedication and commitment was sustained even in the early days when it looked pretty bleak. But this group hung in there. There was a great belief that they were going to succeed based on the performance of the shipyard, and they were absolutely right. And, Your Honor, I know that you've been a leader in this as well, but I also watched over those months your dedication and commitment as well. Through the letters that you were able to garner, and those were very important as well. And I want to thank you as well as the Save Our Shipyard Task Force.
Now, we're not going to make you stay through the whole council meeting, so if you want to say adios or if you want to sit through the whole council meeting, it's up to you. All right, very good. Thank you, everyone. Bye, Joe. Okay, Joe. That's your character.
What a politician. Didn't miss anything. Didn't miss anything.
Now the next proclamation is City Year, New Hampshire. Assistant Mayor Joanne Grasso will read it.
Thank you, Your Honor. The City Council Chambers, City Hall, Portsmouth, New Hampshire, proclamation. Whereas City Year New Hampshire is part of the National Service Network known as AmeriCorps, and whereas City Year New Hampshire develops leaders of tomorrow by engaging young people between the ages of 17 and 24 in a year of service to the communities of our Granite State, and whereas 40 new Corps members are making a commitment today to spend the coming months giving at least 1,700 hours of service to New Hampshire towns and cities. And whereas their pledge to serve America will benefit all of us in ways large and small and help strengthen the communities of the Seacoast area and the rest of New Hampshire. Now, therefore, I, Evelyn Sorrell, Mayor of the City of Portsmouth, on behalf of the City Council and all our members, do hereby congratulate City Year New Hampshire on the 6th year of this fine program and call upon the citizens of the City of Portsmouth to acknowledge and applaud the commitment of these new volunteers who have pledged to serve our community and our state. Given with my hand and seal in the City of Portsmouth, on the 30th day of September 2005, Evelyn Sorrell, Mayor of Portsmouth.
Thank you, Joanne. Is Pawn right there? Come on up, Pawn. We're getting to be buddies, aren't we? Yeah. If some people out there have not seen City Corp, they really should. You wouldn't believe it. They're such a great bunch of kids. They truly are. And I'm sorry I didn't get downtown to see them and give them all a hug. But do come again and bring some with you, okay? All right. Thank you, dear. Now we're down to the biggie that we've all been waiting for. It's awful to have to keep a secret, you know. For a woman to keep a secret, it's hard. We're down to the presentation and the acceptance of a donation for the new library building fund from Service Credit Union. And I'd like to go right down there and have everybody stand. They're going to present us with a check.
Mayor, good evening. Assistant Mayor Grasso, good evening, and councilors. It is my pleasure to represent the Service Credit Union, headquartered on Lafayette Road in Portsmouth. We established ourselves at Pease as the Pease Air Force Base Federal Credit Union in 1957. Today we have 7 branches in New Hampshire, 1 in Massachusetts, and 13 in Germany, directly serving our active military. In fact, many of our members are serving as we speak in Afghanistan and Iraq. We thank all of our military members and families for their service, and we pray for their safety. As we approach the 50th anniversary of our credit union, it is the wish of the Board of Directors that we do something that has a lasting meaning to the future of the city of Portsmouth. So on behalf of our Board of Directors, along with the stateside civilian members and staff in all our branches, we are proud to present this check for $25,000 made out to the new Portsmouth Public Library Fund. We hope it will serve as an impetus to the community at large to consider the additional fundraising effort an important project for the city's future. We at Service Credit Union truly believe the future of this country is in the hands of our children, and money donated to the new library fund, we feel, is an investment in our children and will brighten their future and that of the city and the country we love. Thank you.
Now, Mary Ann, I don't give it to you. I have to give it to John. Thank you, everyone.
I hope you turn that. What are you going to do? Don't lose it, John. Your Honor, I move that the council accept this generous donation from the to the library building fund from the Service Credit Union.
Second. Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? I knew there'd be no one opposed. All right, great. Now we're down to presentation of a proposed joint development agreement regarding parking garage and the conference center, Harbor Corp, the Sheraton Hotel. I'll pass it to you, John.
Thank you, Your Honor. This evening we have with us Steve Griswold, President of Harbor Corp., along with members of his development team to make a presentation regarding the public-private partnership between the city and Harbor Corp. LLC for the development of an expanded conference facility, hotel, and parking garage. If the City Council recalls, back in January of 2004, you authorized myself and the city staff to work with the Economic Development Commission to work on a public-private partnership for garage in conjunction with the proposal to expand the existing hotel and conference facilities on Deer and Russell Streets. To that end, the city staff, along with the Economic Development Commission, have worked with the developer on the feasibility of this site for the conference center and parking garage. At this time, what I'd like to do is I'd like to have Steve Griswold come forward and give a brief synopsis of the project, as well as what took place over the last few years as we worked together with the EDC to bring to fruition this proposal to expand out the northern tier. Steve?
Welcome, Steve.
Thank you very much. I was going to ask Bill to stay because this mission could probably stand some more troops, and we ought to get him organized and headed down the road with us here. He did a terrific job. That's one of the variables that's been removed, thankfully, even for this type of a project. But we are here to talk about another step. As John mentioned, we were here several months ago, and we set forward a draft of an arrangement that we affectionately call the Memorandum of Agreement. It was a draft of things and assumptions, I guess, that we hoped we'd be able to arrive at over the intervening months in order to take another step that is, the discussion point for this evening. I would remind you, I guess, that I am here as a result of a long-standing partnership that I've had with the city of Portsmouth. It's been a good one. We started it back in the 80s. Some of you were actually there when we did this. It started with a draft, kind of a memorandum, worked its way into a contract, and that contract said, Steve, we'd like you to develop a 75-room hotel. It would get somewhere around $200,000 of real estate taxes on a parcel of land that was part of the old Italian neighborhood, which I think we've honored several times, obviously, but known as the urban renewal parcel. And as things would have it, we were able to proceed with that development under the terms of an agreement like the one that we're discussing here tonight. That led, in fact, to what is now a 181-room hotel, somewhere around $600,000 of real estate taxes, many, many direct and indirect economic benefits and spending in the downtown and extended Portsmouth area. And as luck would also have it, we were able to do it on half the land. So now we come back tonight and say we actually can take another step that we did not or were not able to foresee with as much clarity back in the mid-'80s. And that's how do we take the second parcel of land forward in a way that is appropriate for the city and for the Sheraton and its interests. So I think I should also mention this word about UDAG that comes up, and the Urban Development Action Grant was a part of that original proposal, which we did receive in the $4 million amount we had hoped for. That had paid its way down over several years, and then eventually we paid it off about 15 years earlier, and that's the source of the $3 million of fund that you have all for economic development, again, in the greater Portsmouth area. So just a win-win. And I guess that's the bottom line to all of these types of proposals. If it's not a win-win for everybody, then the proposal shouldn't be done. It's got to work on everybody's parts. What we're trying to do, you have the same format of presentations in front of you in the same order. So what I'll do is I'll run over these, but if you can't see them as well, they're, as I say, right with you. The pro forma will call for approximately a 200-room hotel. There is some 20,000 square feet known as the conference center. That is clear meeting space. That's not kitchens and all that sort of thing. And there are some 20 condominiums. The project involves the entrance, in this case, this represents the corner of Deer and Russell Street, where you see what is now the Market Wharf condominium building that exists today on this side of the street, and then the new construction of the 200-room property with the conference center entrance here, which is off of the street. So that This area actually ends up being necked down a little bit, same width of pavement, but again, an effort to try to slow down some of the traffic as it runs through and up Russell Street. So you've got the conference center space on first level. Second level begins rooms, and there's still some conference space on second level. And then the third through the fifth levels are a combination of rooms and then ultimately condominiums. On the approach as you would arrive at the site, this is representing the corner of Market and Russell Street. This depicts what we are developing as a gateway park, that will immediately be to the right as you approach the site coming up Market Street. This represents the other end of that building to be constructed. Green Street, in effect, sits here in its present location. And the building follows up along Russell until we get up to the corner of Deer and Russell that we talked about a few minutes ago. This building, of course, represents the existing Sheraton, and this represents a bridge connector, again in a historical sense, of appropriate architecture that would work the two buildings together, so that we might be able to take larger conferences than even this conference center on its own merits might be able to do. Moving on up. Now we're standing on the corner of Maplewood and Deer, and we're actually looking at the construction of the parking garage. Now, the parking garage has a common wall that we'll see in another elevation that adjoins and abuts to the conference center. And we'll see that in a minute. The parking garage represents the development of some 657 spaces. There's an additional 82 spaces that are currently planned underneath the conference center itself, where our current condominium parkers that are in the Market Wharf building will be relocated to off of the land that we're building the parking garage on. So again, the entrances to the parking garage are here on Deer for public access in and out, and a limited access on Maplewood. It covers a couple of the spots in that area and access to the 82 spots under the conference center. In terms of elevation, this represents a break. The building is not broken, it's just that it's in the shape a bit of a Y type thing. It's following Russell Street as it goes up. So this represents the end down toward Market and Russell Street, going up Russell Street with the Sheraton on the other side of the street and through to the corner of Deer and Russell. This represents the entrance underneath and drop off for the conference center itself. The facilities for bringing in exhibits and trucks and that sort of thing, we have worked now into the back of the facility alongside the railroad tracks coming in somewhere around the Green Street entrance. So we can keep that traffic away from the front of the building. This would represent the profile if you were on Deer Street. This is the end of the garage here, sort of a common that separates what is a private development here versus a proposed publicly owned garage. That's 657 spots. This represents the single level with a conference center underneath, hotel rooms to the back of it, and again, this building follows the length of Russell so that the impact of the size of the hotel itself is minimal as it faces the hill. We're hoping that in terms of the construction, that this area above the conference center will be a garden type effect, a window wall of water on our side of the garage building itself. Our architect, Icon Architects, are the same group that built or designed the Sheraton for us. They are themselves quite active, the lead architect in the green movement, and we are working with them as well to make as many aspects of this as environmentally appropriate as possible, because that also is good business. Then, if you look toward the rear, you see elevation. We're standing on Green Street, because obviously we have to be concerned not just on what it looks like on Russell and Deer and Market type thing, but we also have to be concerned on the back side of the building, because the northern tier and its development and its current people, have a right to know what it's going to look like there, and it has to add to their neighborhood. It does maintain the same kind of a profile on the Green Street elevation as we do on the remainder of the building. Again, you can see the intersection of Russell and Deer. That depicts where the bridge comes over the enclosed walkway into the Sheraton property. And this is a site from Maplewood as to the garage perspective, more from where the newspaper is now. So, these plans, I think, are almost completely in keeping with the MOU that we discussed here many months ago. We have been able to complete now a full feasibility study by a national expert who has advised us that the project is a feasible one to proceed with. I think we have, as you know, been involved with the HDC in several workshop formats. The project is better for that, and we're prepared to go to them for approvals. We met, I think, 4 workshops, and they had several valuable suggestions that have been incorporated here. The opportunity obviously is clear to seize the advantage of creating a conference center downtown. We had reason to believe that when I was here before, but with Yokins physically no longer there, I think it's clear that the time to move is now. And certainly with the shipyard saved, that's another economic question mark that's been removed that can allow a project like this to proceed. So when I was here last time, I think we had actually passed out a series of the reports that Russ Thibault of Applied Economic Research had done. And again, I would refer you simply, as all good reports, to the synopsis in the front. And it talks about the visitation to the downtown area. I think you've seen, and many of the people here have seen, the benefits of that as it's related to the Sheraton area or Sheraton complex over the years. We're talking about 300 full and part-time jobs. All right, not construction jobs. This is on a full-time basis moving forward, and another 500 or so during the construction phase. Wage rates in the $6.8 million range, sustained with some. We have $18 million, I guess, during the construction phase. Some $700,000 or so in property tax revenues that, if anything, maybe a tad on the conservative side. Like I said, we're looking at $600 now in a little smaller facility at the Sheraton. And some $16 million of spending on the part of people who visit at the facility, but more importantly, a good part of that is in what is spent at our restaurants and shops and other downtown and extended Portsmouth vendors. Another economic boost up the ladder. So I think the economic impact analysis is as accurate today as it was when we discussed this several months ago. I think the MOU is time to move that ahead into the working agreement. That will allow me to move ahead and file for a building permit. That building permit application will start the process of actual board approvals, zoning, planning, and HDC. Our time schedule would be to complete those approvals and have the garage be under construction sometime in the March-April time frame early next year, for completion in the November-December time frame next year. The complex the hotel side of the complex and the conference center. We believe we can begin as early as September of next year. We have to be careful that we are at least building replacement parking before I take the whole site and convert it into construction, because we have ongoing business that has needs for parking there. I don't have to tell you, the parking's a little bit limited downtown. So we need to sync those two projects together, and we believe we can actually get the hotel started in the conference center then in September. That would call for a completion in April of '08 for the grand opening, which, interestingly, we opened the Sheraton in April of 1988. So here we go, several years later. The garage itself, our plans with the working agreement call for it to be my risk in the sense of the development and the construction. We would not begin the construction of the garage unless the plans and specifications are detailed in accordance with city wishes and with a guaranteed maximum upset on the part of the contractor that's involved. So in that sense, sort of a design build, but with a predetermined price on this. It seems to me that it follows in many ways a successful blueprint that we worked together with before. I'm not necessarily the most spectacular guy in the world. I think of myself as a bit of a steady Eddie, or a steady Steve, maybe, I don't know. It's the sort of thing where I look at this project and we take the right steps and this project will get built. Many thought that we would not be able to accomplish what we did on the Sheraton site, and I'm proud of what's there. I'm proud of the corporate citizen it represents. I'm proud of the people that are there that have become a part of the fabric of this community, and I'm proud of the partnership we've had. It's why I'm here talking to you about this project tonight. I'd like to continue that successful partnership, and it's been a pleasure to do business with you, and that's why I'm doing this, I guess. So, with that, any questions you may have, I'm here again to ask that the city manager seek your approval for the ability to enter a working contract with us and any appropriate funding relationships necessary.
Excuse me, Your Honor. What I guess would be appropriate is that we discuss this, and Steve will stay here for the portion under my name on the agenda where there is actual action to be taking place. So, and we can get into more of the details as city staff, et cetera, here as well.
Great. Steve, I just wanted to let you know I do have the shovel and the hard hat the day that we dug the first hole.
That's right.
Yeah. You've come a long way. Tom?
Madam Mayor, as we have right before us on the agenda, acceptance of minutes and then public comment session, both of which I think should be done. Before we get to the public hearing on the ordinances, I would ask if we would make a motion to suspend the rules so that this can be considered sooner rather than later, given that there are a number of people here from the Sheraton, but I do think it should be after public comment. But I would like to move it from the city manager's items which require action number 1 and actually put it right after item Roman numeral 6 on the agenda.
Very good. Do I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Very good. Yes, that's what we'll do. So don't go too far away, Steve.
Well, you're going to be able to see me, that's for sure. I don't hide very well. And again, any questions, feel free to use it in this venue, and I'm sure there'll be many others.
Very good. Thank you. All right. Now we're down to the acceptance of the minutes for September 12th, 2005.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? We're down to the public comment session. Tonight we have 5 speakers, and it's the first speaker is Ralph DiBernardo on Islington Street, and he wants to talk about the parking impact fee. Hi, Ralph.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Manager, and Council. I want to speak tonight in support of the present parking impact fee. The use of property, that is, how it is used, such as office, retail, restaurant, or residential, determines the number of parking spaces that are required to service that use. It became necessary some time ago in the city to require an impact fee for parking not provided by the property or business owner. This was necessary in order to have funds to improve the parking situation in the city. Original discussion started at about $5,000 per parking space. It was based on the $15,000 cost for structured parking per space, each space being used 3 times in turnover, therefore 1/3 equaling $5,000. In the end, we settled on $500 per parking space as the original impact fee. The fee has been used to improve the parking crunch. Examples: expanding the High Hanover parking lot, leasing private lots such as the Masonic on Middle Street, studies for future garages such as the Worth lot, and a real effort to reduce parking need through public transportation, that is, bus and trolley service. It was recognized that the $500 fee had become inadequate, and after much discussion and debate, $1,200 was agreed on and was approved by the Economic Development Commission as fair and reasonable and adopted by the City Council. Remember, as I understand it, this is a one-time fee, only charged, again, if the use or occupancy changes to a higher usage, such as a retail space changing to a restaurant. Today's cost for structured parking is approximately $20,000 a space. When the fee is paid, the benefit, the exemption from parking space requirement, stays with the land and property owner. The business may pay the fee, but the owner retains the benefit. And it does not pay again unless, as stated, the property use changes to a higher usage. If a restaurant occupies a space and leaves and another restaurant moves in, there is no additional fee paid unless the property use is expanded in number. The alternative to an impact fee or an inadequate fee is the transfer of the dollar burden to someone else. $1,200 is not unreasonable, although it may be hard on small business. As you look at this issue, maybe the property owner who benefits in the long term should share the expense with the occupant. Please don't lower the impact fee. No one group wants to be the lone supporter of city services. Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph. Next speaker is Dick Ingram, Chamber of Commerce, and he's going to speak on the conference center.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and honorable councilors. I just want to reassure Steve Griswold that the entire shipyard team didn't leave the building. Jenny Griffith did an awful lot of work, and both she and I are still here. Mayor and councilors, I'm here once again, as I have appeared before you earlier in the year, to speak in support of the conference center development and to urge your support as you go forward and work with Mr. Griswold and his team. A term that we heard Steve use more than once in his comments was partnership. And I think more than anything, I am here to endorse the reality that Mr. Griswold and the management of the Sheraton Hotel and the team that he has put together to push this project forward are and will be good partners for the city and for the community at large. I think they have demonstrated to date how they are willing to work with the various boards in the city to take input and to be involved in the give and take that's necessary to get a good answer for the entire city, not just for one neighborhood or one class of business or whatever it may be. They truly understand what it means to be a leading corporate citizen in the broader community. We certainly enjoy working with them as partners, and I think the city will continue to benefit from their development as a partner as we move forward. I have had conversations with a number of business leaders about this project, and not just business leaders who are in businesses that would be directly impacted by the development of a conference center, but the CEOs of companies that are located on the trade port, or of business associations or businesses that are more broadly situated around New Hampshire, and they all understand the benefits of a project like this. and I'm here to represent them as well as myself and the Chamber, and to urge that this process and this project go forward. I think we're all willing to do the hard work to get us to a good answer. And if I might, Madam Mayor, if it's permissible, I do have a short letter from one of those business leaders, Fred Coker, from the New Hampshire High Tech Council, and Coker and Company, who is a Portsmouth resident. He wasn't able to be here, but did want to have a statement that he could at least submit to the council for the record, if that's permissible.
You're good, yes.
Thank you very much.
We'll give it right here to Kelly, so it'll be recorded. Thanks, Dick. The next speaker is Larry Yurden, Strawberry Bank Conference Center.
Thank you, Mayor Sherrill and city councilors. Strawberry Bank has been privileged to cooperate and work in partnership with the Sheraton since the 80s when it came into being and moved to Portsmouth. And that's been a very positive relationship for the two organizations and very obviously for the city as well. A conference center here would be a great spur to our tourism in the city, and of course that would be an important part of the economic development of the city. We've seen it over and over in other cities across New England and across America where museums have benefited from that. We just wanted to put our support in for this team and for the project, and we thank you for your time.
Thank you, Larry. Next speaker is Doug Coons, State Street Conference Center.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Councilors. My name is Doug Coombs, and I am the Director of Marketing and Community Relations for Ocean National Bank, located at 325 State Street. I'm here tonight because our President and CEO, Danny O'Brien, had a prior commitment that he could not break, otherwise he would have liked to have been here himself to express his support for this project. It's been about a year now, a year ago, that Ocean National opened the doors to its new headquarters at 325 State Street. And although there were several reasons, excuse me, that Ocean National located there, one of the key reasons was the vibrant economy that has come to pass here in the city of Portsmouth, and especially in downtown. And so when we see this opportunity before us in terms of the impact in terms of tourism coming into downtown, what that means to retailers, restaurants, et cetera, and a number of those are our customers, we think that we should step forward and speak in favor of such economic good news or economic prospects. And so that's why I'm here this evening, and we'd like to thank you for your time.
Thank you. Last speaker is Everett Eaton, Vice Chair of the EDC Harbor Conference Center.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Everett Eaton, and I'm the Vice Chair of the City's Economic Development Commission. I just have a few very brief comments. First and foremost, that the EDC supports the project and the public-private partnership with Harbor Corp. As you know, the city and the EDC have had a long-standing relationship with Harbor Corp going back some 20 years. And there's numerous benefits, not all that I want to be redundant about, but a few of the very important ones are that the city will own and operate the 650-space parking garage. Nearly half of those will be available on a full-time basis for the conference center, and nearly half of them will be available for the public use. And we feel like this is very important to help alleviate the parking shortfall in the city. As you all know, with the departure of Yokins, there is no gathering place in the city for groups of over 300. This location's a natural. It'll provide millions in trickle-down economic prosperity to local restaurants and attractions in the city. And lastly, as Mr. Griswold said, the proposed project will provide at least $700,000 annually in property tax revenue for the city. So on that, I would like to thank you for your time and hope that you support the project.
Thank you, Everett. See you at our next meeting. Everett's going to be coming in with a surprise, too, for the library. Very good. That ends the public comment session. Now, Tom, you wanted to...
Well, I will make a motion to authorize the city manager to negotiate a joint development agreement with Harbor Corp for approval by the council at its next meeting on October 17th, 2005.
Second. Very good.
Mayor, if I might
Yes.
just offer this, I would presume that we would have an opportunity to review that agreement with council prior to the public meeting.
Correct, and what I would do is, that agreement is still in draft form. That's why the motion is framed in the way it is. We will get that agreement out to you as soon as it is in final form. And because this is a very important project for the city where there will be a commitment made, we wanted to make sure that we had looked at all the variables within the agreement. So with your next packet, that agreement will be sent to you. If the city council, I don't see any reason for that not to be a public discussion. Do you, Bob?
No, I think it's a public.
So at the meeting, you fire away all the questions you want on October 17th, and certainly we'll try to answer them, and Steve and his team will be available that evening. I want to just say that this has been a cooperative effort among a number of people, and especially the Economic Development Commission, who have worked on this for a number of years. We started in 1999 with the Northern Tier study, and you can see some of that's coming to fruition now as a result of that pre-planning that we did a number of years ago. So we're very confident that we'll come to final understandings on some of the legal aspects of this agreement, and we'll have it to you for the next meeting. Subsequent to that, if the City Council does approve the joint development agreement, then at some point we'll be bringing back bonding resolution for the building of the garage with a guaranteed maximum price in there. Similar to what we did at the High Hanover Park Garage, we did a GMP with a design build. And finally, we'll then get underway with the project. So that's pretty much the schedule of how we'll proceed. And unless I hear differently, that we'll stick to that schedule.
I think Bill has a question.
Yes, Your Honor. So I would gather that it would be more appropriate for our questions to come up at that next meeting when we read the contract. So,
yeah, I think so.
Now would not be the time.
What I did is I outlined for you some of the salient points of that agreement. I think probably the thing that you need to keep in mind is to simplify the whole agreement, even though the document is voluminous. We will provide parking in exchange for Harbor Corp providing a conference center. That is the key to this. This is what makes this particular project different than others. The city needs a conference center. It needs to create that kind of economic activity in the central business district with, Steve talked about the $16 million in new spending downtown, which will be spent throughout the retail district. In addition, the $700,000 in new taxes over and above the $600,000 that are already paid will be brought in. So these are some of the things that are the positive aspects of it. But in addition to that, it will provide additional parking downtown. Now, there will be specific items within the agreement that we certainly will answer if you have any questions. And that's why we didn't have an actual agreement to bring to you tonight in final form. I didn't want to rush it. I wanted to make sure everybody that we were comfortable with the agreement before we brought it to you.
Arrow?
Yes, Your Honor. Either Mr. Griswold or our city manager can answer this. I'm concerned about how this is going to be situated on that plot of land. I've looked through my folder and I've kept everything that I've been presented with, and I'd like to have some idea what it's going to look like, a plot plan on that parcel.
Your Honor, if I might.
Yes, sir.
I know it's an early request, but I think it's important.
That is the valid question, but it's a question probably more appropriate for the land use agencies. Clearly, that's something that I think Mr. Griswold would have to go back and talk to his team about, because I guess the question would be, and I'd have to defer to Bob, is do we want to get into land use issues because we don't want to try to prejudge those.
The contemplation in the joint development agreement is going to be that Mr. Griswold has to comply with all of the land use regulations of the city, including the planning board, which is directly relevant to your question, the HDC, and the Board of Adjustment. So that's really the forum in which that question will come up.
Yeah, it's just the idea. I like to have some idea very early in this stage how much square footage it will be taken up on that plot of land, and have some idea that I can answer my people out there who are asking.
Yeah. And I think it's important to recognize that this joint development agreement does not in any way allow him to circumvent any land use process. And there will be, and I know Dave Holden's here from the planning department, there will be a public hearing on this like there is on any other project of this nature. And those questions are appropriate questions for the land use agencies.
Are we all ready to move the question?
Move the question.
Do I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Very good.
Thank
you. You're welcome. Now we're down to the public hearing. Thank you, Steve. Good luck.
Thank you. What the both of us.
Okay, public hearing. Here we go. Ordinance amending Chapter 10, Article 2, Section 10, Period 202, location, parentheses, 2005, zoning map. Before I open this up, I'll pass this to John.
Thank you, Your Honor. Let everybody leave at this particular point. Your Honor, this is simply a public hearing dealing with the zoning map, which addresses the aesthetics of the map in terms of readability. It is in no way change any of the zoning on this particular map. This is, again, for ease of use with the master plan. And you can see there are copies available in your packet as well as a copy available on the board. It's pretty much an administrative type of function, but because there are changes in terms of the aesthetics to it, we did need to actually have council approval. Bob, do you have anything to add on that?
There are no changes of substance to this map, but there are minor enough changes that it was frankly my feeling that the council had to readopt it as an ordinance.
We are ready to open up the public hearing. First-time speakers, for, against, simply 2. Please come forward. State your name and your address. Second time around, do I have any speakers? Please come forward. Third and final time before I close this public hearing, do I have any speakers?
Close. Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Could we just be explained to what the minor changes were?
Sure. Dave, you want to come down?
Mayor and members of the City Council, the changes are primarily a change in the base. We're using the city's new geographic information system, and we prepared a new base map that is far more accurate than the existing one. For example, it shows individual lot lines, and we've used that as the new base for the zoning map, and that's why it looks a little bit different, but all the districts and all the properties remain in the same existing zoning district. This base will be used for the new zoning map that will come about as part of the newly adopted master plan. But this is the existing zoning map on a new base.
Thank you.
All set? Very good. Thank you, Dave. Now we're down to the approval of grants and donations. The first one is the acceptance of donations to the new library building fund, Benjamin J. Swanbank and Christina M. Bastioli, $200. New Hampshire Glass, $250. Boynton, Waldron, Doliak, Woodman, and Scott, PA, $1,500. Do I have a motion to accept?
Move to accept the donation for the library committee.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Now we're down to the acceptance of a donation to the Cemetery Committee, anonymous, $53. Charles B. and Louise H. Tallman, $300.
Your Honor?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move the acceptance of the money as stated for the Cemetery Committee.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Acceptance of donations to Art Speaks for the Lamson Peace Treaty Photo Exhibition. I'm going to pass this to Assistant Mayor because she was very active with Art Speaks.
Thank you. I move that we accept donations to Art Speak from the following groups. RMC Chris Dwyer for $1,500. Portsmouth Regional Hospital, $500. Piscataqua Savings Bank, $500. Lamson Family, $500. Old Parish Town Houses, KWRE, $500. Galley Hatch Restaurant, Portsmouth, $250. Old Port Properties, $250. Kathy Walsh Real Estate, $250. I need a second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. The acceptance of donation for Maple Haven Park Playground Improvements, $260.
Move to accept the donation of $260 to Maple Haven Park Playground.
Second.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Just a question. Do you know what the timeline is, perhaps a question for the city manager, as to when that improvement project is likely to come to the fore? Is it, I mean, I know it's in process.
It's in process. We have been, probably, we'll be starting the spring, but I'm going to check and get a definite on that. I'll get back to the council on that.
Thank you.
If anyone has taken the time, they should go into Maple Haven and see the great job that the neighborhood has done down there. And they haven't asked for monies from the city. It's all donations. Yes, Harold?
Yeah, Your Honor, is that a donation from an anonymous person, or is that from the residents of Maple Haven?
I don't know.
It's money they collected.
It's money they collected. They've
I
been
see.
doing this right along with auctions and all kinds of
Thank
things.
you. Yep.
Yeah, they're a very active group, very active. We all ready for the vote on that?
Mm-hmm.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. We're down to the acceptance of the police department grants, and I'm going to allow you to do that, Councilor Farini.
Before us, we have the Operation Street Sweeper Grant for $127,602. Bureau of Justice Assistance Grant, $6,768. The Portsmouth Red Light Running Grant, $3,101.40. The Portsmouth Enforcement Patrols Grant of $3,101.40, and the Portsmouth Smart Radar Grant, $5,358.50. And I'll move to approve and accept the grants.
First
to the
of
Portsmouth
all,
Police
if there's any questions, the police chief is here to answer them. Is everyone all happy with wow, gee, Chief, they are all approved.
Just to get it out on the record, there are no requirements from the city to accept this grant.
There is some.
I think there is one.
There are some, there's two.
There's two.
There's
On two of them.
Okay, very good. Any other discussion? We're all ready for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Now we're down to presentations. Thank you, Chief. Now we're down to presentations and considerations of written communications and petitions. First one is a letter from Yolanda.
No.
Oh, sorry about that. I'm messing up already.
First reading ordinance.
Considerations of resolutions and ordinances. First reading of ordinance amending Chapter 7, Article 11, Section 7, period 1100, speed limits, Hillcrest Drive and Woodland Circle, 20 miles per hour. What's your wish, councilors?
Moved.
Okay.
And second reading and public hearing on the 27th?
October 17th.
23rd.
17th.
17th.
17th. Do we get a second on that?
Second.
Okay. I passed it to John because he's chairperson of traffic and safety. All right. Discussion? All ready for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Second reading of ordinance amending Chapter 10, Article 2, Section 10, period 202, location 2005, zoning map.
Your Honor, I move that we pass the second reading of this amended ordinance and hold a third and final reading at our October 17th City Council meeting.
Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Excuse me. Third and final reading of ordinance amending Chapter 1, Article 4, Section 1, period 40, Cable Television and Communication Commission. What's your wish? Ned, I think, had this up first.
Your Honor, I move that the City Council pass third and final reading of the amended ordinance as submitted.
Second.
Discussion? Gee, we're all quiet tonight. What's the matter here? Is the Red Sox playing tonight?
No, you wouldn't have anybody here.
That's right.
All ready for the vote then? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Third and final reading of ordinance amending, wait a minute. Yeah, right here, this last one, yeah. Third and final reading of ordinance amending Chapter 7, Article 3, Section 7, period 330, no parking, Green Street, both sides from Russell Street to Vaughan Street. Councilor Whitehouse?
Yes, Your Honor, I move to pass third and final reading of the amended ordinance as submitted.
Second.
Very good. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Now we're down to presentations and considerations of written communications and petitions. There's a letter from Yolanda Hoying to Governor Lynch requesting the installation of a stoplight at the entrance to Patriots Park Apartments.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Could I ask a question of the city manager?
Sure. John?
Is there anything that the city can do about that, John? I was out there today and almost got hit by a car coming out of I was trying to watch traffic coming both ways, and there was a truck coming out of the donut place that I didn't even see.
We can, Counselor, we need to petition the state to look at that. It is not a city property. Probably my suggestion would be that we could draft a letter to the governor on behalf of the mayor and city council to ask him to have the DOT look at that. That's probably the best thing to do.
I would hope that we would, because it's a very dangerous situation. When the park first went in there was none of those businesses there. But the place has grown up, and right directly across from the entrance into the park is Dunkin' Donuts. People are flying in and out of there all the time. And I think that it's something that this council should look at for the people that live out there if we possibly can.
And Hillcrest Mobile Homes are having the same problem out there. Yeah. So
At one time, the state was going to put 32 lights on Route 1, so we'll add to.
Good luck, Joanne.
What we can do, Your Honor, if the council wants, we can frame a letter asking the governor to ask the DOT commissioner to look at this situation.
Right, sounds good.
Move the recommendation of the city council.
Should we include a copy of this letter, too?
Well, he received this letter, but we will also do that as well.
Yeah.
If Laura's comment's a motion, I'll second it.
Is yours a motion?
Yes.
Okay, it's seconded. Any other discussion? You all ready for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
I just want to make sure that we make a strong recommendation to the state, a very strong recommendation.
I will, but I'm going to be gentle with my governor. A letter from Damon Redmond, Exchange City, requesting permission to erect a sign on city property located at 27 Granite Street.
25.
Oh, sorry, 25. And I'm going to let Bill take over here because he's on the Neighborhood Steering Committee.
Your Honor, if I might, I would just recommend...
Move to the planning board?
Yeah, that'd be the
Right.
best place to send it.
Okay.
A report back.
Okay, because you might have a few complaints about that. Kind of a large sign.
I'll second that, Your Honor.
Very good. Harold?
Speaking on that motion, I just hope there's a policy that goes along with that letter, that if Exchange City ever ceases to exist, that this huge 4x8 sheet of plywood be removed.
That's on to the planning.
Yes.
Planning board.
Not in connection with the sign, but I just wanted to say that on Saturday I was out at Exchange City, and the City Corps, AmeriCorps,
yes,
people were out there too with Comcast, and they were doing over 2 classrooms there, and it was really exciting to see the all the activity going on at Exchange City.
It's a wonderful, wonderful place. And if any of you counselors haven't been out there to view it, you should try. Really is great. Are we all ready for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Now we're down to a letter from Attorney Bernie Peelich regarding the discontinuance of Falkland Way. Yes. Harold?
Your Honor, I move that this be referred to the planning board.
Second.
Discussion?
You want to report back?
And a report back.
Councilor Pandalakis?
Yeah, I just have a question because I've heard of this Falkner Way for years. How come it's never been accepted as street, as you're saying, and whatnot?
Actually, whether or not it's been accepted as a street is one of the questions which the planning board will answer for the city council.
Okay.
It's not a paper street, is it?
Portions of it are, Your Honor. I think that, too, is one of the questions that the planning board is going to have to determine.
Watch it.
But it is a street that's been well known in the city for many years.
There's something out there.
A Loch Ness monster.
That answer your question, Laura. There's something out there. Oh, dear. We all ready for the vote, everyone? You all ready for the vote? Ooh. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That's what happens with paper streets. Okay, now we're down to the city manager, and John, as you can see, just got back from his conference, and he has 6 items that require action.
Thank you, Your Honor. The first item we already took care of on the proposed joint development agreement. Second item is a proposed license agreement regarding Ritchie Construction on Deer Street. Ritchie Construction requires a revocable license agreement to complete work at 2228 Deer Street next to the Deer Street pump station. All required land use approvals were received for 2228 Deer Street. Ritchie Construction is excavating in the public sidewalk and making authorized improvements. Also, one 15-minute parking space will be impacted. Ritchie Construction anticipates the work will be completed no later than November 30th, 2005. The fee for the license in the area is $20 per day. The fee increases if the work extends beyond November 30th. The terms of the license will be in accordance with other license agreements entered into between the city and similar situated developers. And I would recommend the city council act on this item.
Do I get a second? Yeah.
I move.
Need a motion.
I move to authorize the city manager to enter into a revocable license agreement with Ritchie Construction Company for city property in front of 2228 Deer Street.
Do I get a second?
Second, Your Honor.
Very good. Discussion?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm going to be abstaining.
Very good. Thank you, Assistant Mayor. Any other discussion on this before the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
The next item on, I'm going to ask that the city attorney brief the city council on. It is a proposed transfer of license agreements to Bill Shute and Ronald Fry, operators of Bananas Bar and Grill.
Your Honor, going back to when what is currently Bananas Restaurant was Lucas, the city council granted at different times a couple of different unique arrangements to that restaurant. The first is the council gave them a lease to build that greenhouse-type structure, which is located on what used to be Vaughn Street. And then secondly, the city council, some years later, gave Lucas the permission to build the greenhouse that comes over the sidewalk on Hanover Street. In each case, there was a written agreement between the city and the owners of the restaurant, and in each case, the written agreement required what really are pretty nominal fees to be paid. Notwithstanding that they were nominal fees, everyone seemed to have lost track of the fact that those fees were supposed to be paid over the years, and they have not been paid to about $9,000 worth. Additionally, every time that restaurant changes hands under these agreements, the city council is supposed to be notified and is supposed to give approval. With the changes of name from Lucas to Bananas to in ownership of Bananas, arguably that provision in the agreements wasn't complied with either. However, the city administration, I think, is convinced that these oversights, the payment of the fees and the transfer notifications are just good faith mistakes, no intent to deceive or anything of that nature. Accordingly, now when Lucas Bananas is coming in to bring this thing forward, asking the council to allow it to make the past payments without any penalties or adverse effects, and allow the council to approve any transfers up to date, our recommendation in the city manager's office and myself is that the city council vote to do that. Vote to approve all the transfers up to the current owner, conditioned only upon payment of past fees, which will be about $9,500.
Do I have a motion?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I move to transfer the license agreement. I recommend to move the transfer agreement to Bill Schultz and Ronald Fry, operators of Banana Grill, providing that all license fees in the arrears are paid.
Do I get a second?
Second.
Discussion. Harold?
Well, first of all, going back to 1982, when this agreement was put together, it's clear in my mind just what the owner of Bananas Restaurant went through. And in reading a certain portion that the city attorney read, he didn't complete the license agreement in reference to monies. He read the part that says the 1982 license fee was established at $500 per year for the first 2 years of the agreement. Therefore, the agreement calls for the rent to be determined by the city council. The rest of the article says, or its designee, and shall be payable annually in arrears or prorated upon termination, if the licensee is terminated before the anniversary date. So, if somebody is putting the blame on a previous council that this wasn't followed through, it is not fair.
Well, Your Honor, I think my point is there is no blame.
There is no what?
Blame.
Okay. All right. And you determined the figure by going back to 2 years after the 1982 agreement. They paid the first 2 years, I believe, and then there was no payment after that.
I asked the finance department to calculate the number. I was not involved.
Have you been in conference with these people?
I have numerous items of correspondence, and they're here.
Yep.
And Harold,
I want to be
you
fair
were
about
here in '88, and you know that was one of the biggest fights.
Yeah. Well, it started in '82.
Oh, 82 was when
82.
Right.
81.
I was on that
Councilor Whitehouse, I can assure you that the current owners of the property are very much in agreement with the recommendation that I've made.
All right. Okay. I just checked on this one.
Good. Good,
Thank you.
ma'am, good. I mean, I think it's beautiful. I thought it was a wonderful thing, but man, I thought we were going to have a murder there.
Air rights, boy, oh boy.
Laura?
Yes, I think you just designated a figure that should be, and I don't believe that this council should change that in any way, shape, or manner. If we said it's $9,000,
It's 9,500.
That's what it should stay at.
All right.
You know, I just wanted
Was that a motion?
Yes.
Do I get a second?
Second, I already got it.
There's already a motion on the...
But you
All
already
right.
got it.
Yes, very good. It's already on there.
Yeah.
All right, discussion?
You want?
Yes, Bill.
Okay. Thank you, Ronna. In light of the fact that something hadn't been done, or this hadn't come to the council over these years, is this something that now will come to the council every year now?
It may not come to the council every year, but the monitoring of the agreements will be done better in the future than in the past. It's just one of the things that the city in general does better now than was done back in the 80s.
I might just add that we have a system in place for anything since 97 that we track on an annual basis.
So this kind of fell through the cracks.
Well, I can't speak to that issue,
Right.
but, but I can tell you that from 1997 forward, there is a system in place.
So from now on, the system will...
Well, of course,
Good.
quite frankly, we didn't know about this because all the staff in the finance department pretty much are different now. And we do have a situation now where it's in place where it doesn't matter who the staff is, it's going to be picked up every year.
In 97, you arrived in your city manager?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank goodness it wasn't a great deal of money, and it was a
Should have
small
been
amount,
back
so-
here in the 80s. It was war.
It was. Yeah, I was here.
That was horrible. I don't think I ever went through anything like that in my life. Okay, any other questions here before the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Thank you, Your Honor. Next item that we have is establishment of a work session for performance operational audits. As a result of the work session on September 19th, the City Council needs to act to establish a work session to continue the discussion regarding performance operational audits. At the September 19th work session, Monday, October 31st, 2005, at 6:30 p.m. was discussed as a date for the next work session on the subject. I know, Your Honor, that you've indicated that you would like to consider a later date. We have given you multiple dates here, so it's up to the council what you want to do.
May I just speak quickly? I really think we're going to be having the selection of new councilors and new mayor, that we should delay it until after elections, because let the new ones coming in work with it. That's my feeling.
Your Honor, may I?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you, Your Honor, and I would never approve of a meeting, especially during Thanksgiving week. A lot of people go away that week, and it's a bad week to meet. And I often said, why does it have to be on a Monday? We're looking for a special work session or a special night. I'm willing to come on a Friday afternoon or a Friday evening. So, But I agree with you, after the elections of November 8th would be the prime time to set a date.
Right. I think so. Councilor Pantelakis.
Yes, the new council will not take effect until January of 2006, no matter who is elected. We also have to remember that we're going to start our budget in January. So if we have any ideas about doing these audits, we need to start the work session on them and pick a subject that we're going to do the work session on, the audit on, as soon as possible, so it can come on to the be passed on to the next council. And there's certainly new councilors are not going to be able to jump right into a meeting on in January and then decide what they're going to do and move on from them. We'll rest a whole year of a budget. That's my only take on it.
Well, it's up to you people.
Your Honor?
Yes,
One date that isn't down here, John, is Monday, the 28th,
Of,
November.
Oh.
That's a possibility. And I'd like to, Harold, I think we traditionally use the Mondays because in the past, councils have sort of set aside Mondays for city council business.
There's only so many Mondays, you know.
I know.
The 28th,
But May 28th, is that a?
November 28th?
November 28th.
I'm sorry.
I don't know if the room is
November
available, 'cause I
20th.
went through and
Up to May, you mean?
I went through and looked at when the room would be available, and I didn't pick that.
When
date,
you
so-
say room, you mean conference room A?
Yes,
Okay, well, we can always move whoever's there,
right.
so.
Another suggestion, we've all got to come down on Thursday, the 10th of the city council meeting to have a work session after that.
That's right, that's right.
Do you want to
We
do
have
that?
to be here anyway,
We've got to purge the vote.
right?
Yeah. So we could go into a meeting after that.
That's absolutely correct. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Save a night out.
Sure.
Stay the night out.
Yeah.
So if you want to do that, November 10th, that's fine with me.
That's right. Yep.
Want to do that?
Yeah, fine with me.
So somebody needs to make a motion, Your Honor? Somebody needs to make a motion.
Oh, yes.
Gonna be here.
Will somebody make a motion, please?
I make a motion, I don't know exactly what time we have to be here to canvass the vote. Can we set that ourselves?
It's scheduled for 7 o'clock, but we could always start it at 6:30, so then you can go right into your work session. It will probably take a maximum of 10 minutes to do the canvass of the vote, so.
Okay.
you could-
Then
Okay.
I'll make a motion to have the work session on performance audits following the canvass of the vote on November 10th.
Second.
Very good. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Oh, Tom, I'm
Madam Mayor, just
sorry.
a question at the risk of sounding terribly inexperienced. Is the canvass of the vote some opportunity to say an incantation over the election results, or what is the canvass of the vote?
Yeah.
If Kelly would be so kind.
It is what I do is I go through the actual votes that have taken place, and it's for the council to formally accept the votes as presented.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I think you're a man of the cloth.
So we've got
For recount.
you got that taken care of? We got to move the motion, everybody. Oh, boy.
It's been made and seconded.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Thank you, Your Honor. The next item is report back regarding Kenneth and Deborah Smith request regarding land adjacent to their property at 298 Myrtle Avenue. And attached is a memorandum from David Holden, Planning Director, regarding a report back from the Planning Board to the City Council relative to Kenneth and Deborah Smith's request to use land adjacent to their 298 Myrtle Avenue property. At their meeting on September 15th, the Planning Board voted to recommend the following relative to this matter. And it is as follows, that the land be offered for sale subject to the following: that the sale of land encumbered by the stone wall only shall be approved by the school board, that in their consideration, the school board should consider what, if any, impact this request would have on compliance with minimum state site standards, that the city assessor shall determine the fair market value of the subject land area, that the applicant shall bear the cost of preparing the necessary subdivision plat and associated documents, that the city council shall approve the request, that if the council approves this request, the planning board recommends that the subject area involved in the transfer should be rezoned from municipal to single residence B district. And in the event that the first recommendation cannot be completed, then the stone wall shall be removed from the city property. And this would be a recommendation to refer this matter to the school board for report back, because the school board would have to report back to the city council on this matter.
So moved, Your Honor. The recommendation. Second.
Oh, okay, very good. And I got my second from who?
Right here, Your Honor. Second.
Oh, okay, very good. Discussion? Yes, Assistant Mayor.
Question, would this mean that we do not accept this until it comes back to us again?
If the motion as recommended passes, right, it will come back to you again.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Everyone ready for the vote now? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Thank you, Your Honor. The next item is a Economic Development Commission review of the parking impact fee. As you know, in the spring of 2004, at the request of the City Council, a subcommittee of the Economic Development Commission reviewed the city's parking impact fee, which at that time was $500 per parking space for unmet parking needs.
The Economic Development Commission Subcommittee work included a review of the parking impact fees in other communities and input from city business owners, as well as an assessment of the average cost to construct a covered parking space and the potential impacts of various parking fee revisions on large and small developments in the Central Business District. Based on their review, the EDC Subcommittee recommended the parking impact fee be increased to $1,200 per parking space for unmet parking need to reflect the true current cost of constructing a covered parking space. Part of the rationale behind the subcommittee's recommendation was to impose a fee that would not impede development, but at the same time would not create parking demands that surpass the city's ability to provide adequate parking supply and or reduce parking demand through transit operations. The Economic Development Commission's subcommittee further recommended that the fee be reviewed and updated no less than every 5 years. And I do believe a couple of the council members, I believe Council Member Marchand might have said annually as well after the first year. Following the EDC's recommendation in January this year, the council adopted the parking fee increase to $1,200 per space. In recent months, a number of business owners in the city have raised concerns regarding the effect of the parking impact fees on the city's small businesses. Given this, it may be an appropriate time to review what effects the fee has had on the city's small business and, if merited, consider options to address any negative impacts. And what I'd like to do, because the Economic Development Commission did put a lot of work into this and did a lot of research, I'd like to send it back to them because they're the most logical ones to look at this again and maybe try to develop a focus group to see if we should make adjustments to it. So I need that motion.
Your Honor,
Yes, Councilor Hines.
I would recommend that the City Council refer this matter to the Economic Development Commission to review the effects of the parking impact fee on the city's small businesses and report back to the Council with a recommendation regarding any potential revisions to the parking impact fees.
Second.
Very good. Discussion? Tom?
Madam Mayor, thank you. I think that city manager's suggestion that they convene perhaps or consider convening focus groups is a wonderful idea and the right suggestion. And I think that if there's an opportunity for any businesses that have been impacted, obviously we want to hear from them. That's typical of the Economic Development Commission to function in that fashion. And I'm sure, as I recall, Councilor Marchand's idea that it be kept to a year, and I do think that was right. We all certainly intend that it be reviewed. We can't be underreactive and we can't be overreactive, but I think that the EDC has the expertise and the business horsepower to deal with it, and I would think that this is a wonderful idea.
Harold?
I know the EDC, as the city manager stated, had spent many, many hours on this, and it was a committee that came back with report after report. And I think it was 6 months before they finally had decided what the fee would be. And I agree with Ralph DiBiamino when he stated at the public comment session that the higher usage is paid only when the property changes and is increased. So, you know, I think we ought to put a lot of consideration on that statement.
Any other? Steve, I'm glad you woke up.
Oh,
I'm just teasing you.
I've been ill. No,
It's hard being a new daddy, I know.
My daughters have been great, though, for the record.
Good.
One other thing I mentioned back in the day that I hope that is considered during this discussion is not just the amount of money that would be paid per space, but also the timing of when that money would be due. That was one thing that was discussed several months ago in terms of, are there ways that we can help out a new business, or new to that spot anyway, in terms of their cash flow. And that's one concern that I think at least could be alleviated, potentially, is the amount of cash that they have to cough up at the beginning when you need all the cash you can just to get your business started. Would there be a way to, besides talking about the number of dollars involved, to deal with when those dollars would be paid? There might be a middle road in there. I hope that's considered as part of this.
Very good. Any other discussion on this? You all ready for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Thank you, Your Honor. That's all the action items that I have under my name. I have an informational item on the Economic Development Commission agenda. One other item, just want to let you know that we did start today picking up recyclables from the city staff.
They were a little late, but...
Were they?
They're learning their roots. I think Steve Parkinson's out with them as well, and
Yes,
other
good job.
other people.
Bill?
Your Honor, under the city manager, could I ask a question? In light of the fact that we're having a mosquito problem in the New England area, I understand that it's a possibility that we are spraying. I've had parents call me and say about, around the ball fields in the high school where it's kind of wet sometimes. We are spraying a little more than...
Yes, we are. We actually went out and we've been spraying around the ball fields, which Mr. Morrison has, his firm has been spraying in those areas.
So we're concentrating a little more in that area.
Yes.
Kids. Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
John?
Well, now that we got rid of the mosquitoes, I think this morning I saw the new city recycling truck. It's a very nice looking truck, and I think the service really has improved already. So I think it's a great move on the part of the council and the mayor and the manager that we have moved in this direction.
Very good.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Okay. Then I think we're down to the mayor. I'll pass my gavel to the assistant mayor. We've got 2 checks that I would like to make the motion on to accept. The first one is the town, this is for the Coalition of Communities, the town of Newcastle for $500, and the town of Sunapee for $1,500.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No more money. The next one is a consideration of an application for the Traffic and Safety Committee, and the gentleman's name is John C. Connors. And if you have any questions now, I've told you people 100 times on this, give me a call, come in and see me, or whatever. It will be on the agenda, so you'll have about 2 weeks to check it out. They really needed an extra person on that. And John's a wonderful, he's an ex-police officer, and very, very nice person and well-equipped to do that job. All set on that then? Okay. Now we're down to be voted on the Housing Endowment Fund, Calvin Couch.
So moved.
Second. Motion, Your Honor.
Oh, I've got it back. I'm sorry, Joe. Wake me up. I'm talking about poor Steve, and I'm the one who have a sleep tonight.
I just say, poor Mr. Couch is wondering what's going on right there. This is very
I'm laying on his couch. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Aren't you guys going to miss me when I'm not around?
Yes.
All right. I keep you awake anyways. Now we're down to appointments and resignations. And I do have some very sad news. I received this today, and I spoke with her last week. Dear Mayor Sorrell and City Councilors, it is with deep regret that at this time, effective immediately, I am resigning as chairperson and member of the Taxi Commission due to health reasons. Betty Sanford, chairperson of the City Taxi Commission. She's done a wonderful job, and we certainly will do something for her, Harold.
Thank you.
Betty is very sick.
I know it.
And it doesn't look good. She's accepted it, and it's hard. It's hard. She's a wonderful lady.
Your Honor, I move that we accept this letter with deep regret and Thank her for all her years of service.
Right. Second. And I will. I'll do something a little special for her too, from us and Harold, because Harold's been on the taxi commission a long time. The next one is, Dear Mayor Sorrell, due to a change in my career and family responsibilities, I respectfully resign my position on the City of Portsmouth Economic Development Commission, effective immediately. I have greatly appreciated the opportunity to serve the City of Portsmouth and expect that the EDC will continue to be an intricate part of our local government. And that is signed by Scott Paffett.
Madam Mayor, that we accept the resignation with regret and thanks for the services he has rendered the city.
Very good, Jan. Right, what?
Never voted on that.
Okay. Second, I got a second. Okay.
Madam Mayor, just to add, John got to make the motion, and along with Councilor Hines, I did serve on the Economic Development Commission with Scott, and he was a hard-working person who always had the city's interests at heart, and he was an active and valuable participant, and I hope we see him back someday in some other endeavor.
Yeah, he was a real nice kid. Okay, we all ready for the vote? All in favor? Aye. All opposed. That takes care of the mayor. Does anyone have any unfinished business? Bill?
I don't know if this is unfinished business, but there's a letter in our packet about a company who's donating heating oil, and which will be going to the Rockingham Community Action Program. So I'd like to emphasize anybody out there who's a problem, because we are going to have problems this year, needing heating oil to go to the Rockingham Community Action Program, and they will help them, assist them with this company that's donating
Yes, I think they
oil
should be
to them.
acknowledged.
Yeah, right, and they should be acknowledged.
$75,000, a lot of money.
Right,
Yeah,
it is.
sure is.
Excellent.
The people are already coming in.
Right.
So, very good. Okay, now, I think our city clerk has got an announcement.
I just wanted to take this opportunity to announce that absentee ballots are presently available in the city clerk's office for the upcoming November 8th municipal election. You may come in and fill out an application, request an application by phone or mail, or go to our website, which is www.cityofportsmouth.com. Click on the city clerk's page, and you can download the application there. If anybody has questions, you may reach us Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5 at 610-7207. Thank you.
Is this on the newsletter, Kelly, that comes through the site, the website?
No, I got the ballots in before the news,
okay.
after the deadline had passed, but
That might be
we might be able to attach it to it.
Yeah, we might be able to catch it. We'll
Okay.
on the newsletter.
Yeah, we'll try to catch it on the newsletter.
That's a great newsletter, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Don't forget, people, work your ballots. Absentees, they're very important. Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So move, Your Honor.
Second.
Very good. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?